Hi guys, welcome back to the session. Today we will create a UiPath project using regular expression and matches activity to extract the invoice data from these text files and store them inside the Excel sheet. So let's get started by creating the regular expressions. We will create regular expressions to extract invoice number, due amount, due date and email ID. And to build the regular expressions, I will use this Regex tool. I will share the link in the description. This is an online tool used to build and test regular expressions. Now, if you are new to regular expressions, please check out my previous video on basics of regular expression for a quick reference. So let's get started by creating regular expression for the email IDs. So from all these text files, I have collected all the email IDs at a particular place. So I will provide this email ID here and we will build our regular expression for these email IDs. So let's create the regular expression starting from these usernames. So these usernames could contain the characters from A to Z in caps off or A to Z in caps on. Then these usernames could also contain digits. So for that I will write 0 to 9. Then these usernames could also contain underscore. So provide a underscore here. And also you see few usernames also contains a dot and a dash. So we'll provide it here. Now since dot and dash are escaped characters, so I will provide a forward slash and a dot and then forward slash and a dash. Now since the number of characters in the username could vary from 1 to more, so I will provide the quantifier plus here. So this is the expression which matches the username. Now after username, after this John.Smith, we have at the rate symbol. So I will provide a at the rate symbol here. And here you see the username till at the rate is getting matched. Now after the username and at the rate, we have the domains here. So let's write the expression here for the domain. So the expression for domain will be exactly similar to the username. The domain could contain the characters A to Z in caps off or on, then the numbers, underscore, dot and dash, and again the number of characters could vary from 1 to more, so I will provide the plus symbol here. Now I wanted to write the expression till the domain. I want to write the expression for dot and these extensions separately. So to do so, what I will provide here, I will provide the dot which is present before the extension. So provide a forward slash and a dot. So till dot the match is found. Then let's write the expression for these extensions com, net, co and org. Now the extension, the characters in the extensions could be from A to Z in caps off or A to Z in caps on. And the number of characters in the extension could vary from 2 to 3. 2 to 3. So here you see the extension, the number of characters here is 3, 3, 2 and 3. So you see this is the complete expression to identify the email. All these emails are getting matched properly. So this is the regular expression which we will use for the email ID. So let me store it inside the notepad. Next what I will do, I will extract the other data from the text file. I will provide it another window of the regex tool. And here let's clear the already existing expression and let's build the regular expression to extract this due amount, that is $400. Now to extract this one, to match this dollar, I'm going to use the look behind feature which we already learned in the previous session. So let's write the expression here. So inside the capture group I will write question mark less than equal to. This less than is to look behind and equal to is for positive look behind. So overall this is the expression of positive look behind, and the text which we want to look behind is due amount. So I will copy this entire text from here and will provide it here. Now to match this $400, I will provide a dot and plus. So you see this due amount is getting matched. So this is the expression which we will use for due amount. Let me provide it here. And let's create the regular expression for due date. This will be very similar. I will provide this due date inside the brackets. We are using this positive look behind for the due date capture as well. So here you see the due date is getting matched. So let me write this regular expression here. Next, the last regular expression we will build for this invoice number. Now here also we can use the look behind feature, but let's learn something else. So I will delete this expression from here, and let's build the regular expression for this invoice number. Now we learned in the previous session about this forward slash and W. This matches any word character, that is alphanumeric and underscore. Now I will provide here the quantifier as 3 and it will match this INV. Then I will put a dash since this invoice number contains a dash, and then this invoice number contains 5 digits. So that to identify the digits, what we can write? We can write a forward slash and D, which identifies any digit character, and since we have 5 digits in the invoice number, so I will provide here D5. So here you see this invoice number is matched. So we'll use this regular expression for the invoices. And now that we have all the regular expressions ready with us, let's move to UiPath to build our project. So let's build our project here. First of all, I will create the variables to store the regular expressions which we created. So let's copy the regular expressions from here one by one. So let's take this email, create a variable email regex, and variable type will be string, scope is sequence, and provide the regular expression in the default. Next, let's take the invoice number and let's provide the name here, invoice number regex, and let's provide in the default value the regular expression which we created. Then let's take the due date and provide the variable name here, due date regex, and provide the regular expression value in the default section. And the last we have is the due amount. So let's take from here and create a variable due amount regex and provide the regular expression in the default. So we created all the variables to store the regex, regular expressions which we created. Next, I'm going to use the read range activity from the workbook, and I'm using this activity to store the headers from this Excel inside a data table. So here provide the workbook path. So hit browse, and I have provided the Excel file inside the project folder. So let's select the file from here, and the sheet name is sheet 1, sheet name is sheet 1, and cell range is not required, and the sheet contains header, so we will go with the checked option. And right click and create a variable which is a data table variable. So by this read range activity, the headers are stored inside a data table. Next, we will read this invoice data from this text file. We have multiple of text files here, but we will go with the invoice one first. Then we will add the activities to read all these files. So for that, to read the data from the text file, I'm going to use read text file activity. So let me add it here. Let's collapse this one, and here let's provide the file name. So hit browse, and inside the invoice folder these are the invoices. So let's go with the first one. Let's hit open, and the data from this file, the entire data from this file, let's store it to a variable. So right click and create variable. Let's give the name as invoice details. Next, we will use the matches activity. We'll use the matches activity to search for invoice number, due amount, due date, and email ID from the text. This complete text we have stored inside the variable invoice details which we just created here. So let's add the matches activity. So first matches activity I'm going to use to match email ID. So I have provided the display name as matches email. Then we'll provide the input. So input will be nothing but the invoice details variable which holds the entire data. In the pattern I will provide the regular expression which I have created for the email. And the result will be stored to a variable. So right click and create variable here. Let's give the name as email. In a similar way, I'm going to use the matches activity for to match the other text as well. So this one I will use for invoice number. Input will be similar. Input I am going to provide as invoice details. The pattern this time will be invoice invoice number regex, and the result will store it to a variable. So right click and create variable invoice number. We'll use two more matches activity for due date and due amount. So let's add it here. Let's collapse these. This matches activity we will use for due date, and the input will be invoice details. Regular expression here will be due date regex, and let's store the result to a variable, say due date. Then the last matches activity I'm going to use for due amount. Input will be invoice details, pattern will be due amount regex, and store the results to a variable due amount. So these matches activity is going to search for email ID, invoice number, due date, and due amount in the text file. Now the variables, the output variables which got created inside the matches activity, these output variables, email, invoice number, due date, and due amount, all these are the variables of type IE numerable. That means these variables can be iterated. For example, you can add for each activity, let me show you. You can add for each activity here to iterate the output variables of the matches. So here if you write email, you can iterate all the emails present, all the email values present inside this email variable. Now this approach I have already showed you in the previous session. Please check out that video for a quick reference on how we can iterate through the IE enumerable variables which are the output of the matches activity. Today I will show you some other approach. So here I am going to add the if condition. So I will add the if activity here, and here I am going to write the condition as email.count greater than 0. I'll show you why I am providing this condition, email.count greater than 0, then invoice number dot count greater than 0, and due date dot count greater than 0, and due amount dot count greater than 0. So let me show you why I have provided this condition. So if you go to this invoices folder, so here we have the invoice, that is invoice 5 text file, which do not have the complete information. So if you open this invoice 2 and invoice 5, and if we compare these, so here you see in invoice 5 the invoice number is missing, then email ID which is present here is also missing. It only has the values of due amount and due date. Now our requirement is to write the invoice data inside this Excel only if the entire information is available inside this text file. Now, since this invoice 5 do not have the entire information, the invoice number and email ID is missing. So we do not want to write the data, the incomplete data inside this Excel file. That's why I have provided the condition like this. That is, if all these values are greater than 0, that means at least a single value is present inside the text file, which will be the case for invoice 1, 2, 3 and 4. So if at least a single value is present for all email, invoice number, due date and due amount, then only we want to write the data to the Excel. So we will go with this condition. Now to write the data to this Excel file, first we will write it to a data table. Then the data table will be written to the Excel. So to write the data to the data table, I will add the activity add data row from the data table. Let me add it here. And here let's provide the details. Data table will be DT, which we have created in the very beginning, which holds the headers from this Excel. Then we'll provide the data in this activity. So here we'll choose the array row. Let me show you first the output variable. We will use the output variable of the matches activities. So first output variable is email, then invoice number, then due date and then due amount. So we'll use these variables. So in the array row I'm going to write email 0, that will take the first value inside the email. We will have only one values since we have only one occurrence of every text, that is invoice number is 1, then due amount is also a single value, due date is also single value and the email ID is also single value. So we'll write email 0 dot toString, then put a comma, then I will write invoice number 0 dot toString, then I will provide due date, the index will be 0 and again will convert it to string, and at the end I'm going to take due amount and again the index will be 0 and I'll convert it to string. And since this is an array row, so I'm going to put this inside the curly braces. So this is the complete data we are writing to a particular row of the data table DT, that is email, invoice number, due date and due amount. So let's click on OK, and at the end we will write the data table to the Excel file, to this Excel file. So I'm going to use the write range activity. So we'll go with this write range activity under the workbook. So let me add it here, and here we'll provide the workbook path of this Excel. So let's hit browse, and from here let's select this invoice data. Sheet name will be sheet 1 and we'll start writing from A1 cell. The data table will be DT and the sheet will contain headers. So let's go with this checked option of add headers. So our project is ready. Let me show you what it is going to do. First of all, it reads the headers from the Excel. Since this doesn't contain any data as of now, it only contains headers. So first of all, it's going to read the data, read the headers from the Excel and store in data table DT. Then it's going to read the text file invoice 1 and store the text from the file inside the variable invoice details. Then we have added the matches activity to search for email, invoice number, due date and due amount from this invoice details variable, which holds this complete data. Now once we have all the matches, we are checking a condition that the count of email, invoice number, due date and due amount are greater than 0. And if this condition is satisfied, then we are writing the data to the data table. And at the end, we are writing the data, the complete data from the data table inside the Excel sheet. So let's quickly run this project to see how it works. I'm going to close this Excel file and I'm going to close all these text files as well. And let's quickly run our project. And my project is running now and it is over. Let's open the Excel file. So let's move to File Explorer. This was the file. And here you see the complete data is written, email ID, invoice number, due date and new amount. So in this way we extracted the data from the text file and stored it inside the Excel using regular expression and the matches activity. Now we have done this only for a single file from this invoices folder. We have multiple of files here, so let's modify our project to work with all the files. So for that, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to provide here for each activity. So let me add this for each activity here. I'm using this activity to loop through all the text files present inside this invoices folder. So here I will write for each file inside. So I will capture all the files, all these text files using the directory function. So I'm going to write here directory dot get files, directory dot get files, and here I will provide the path. So I will provide the complete path of this invoice. I will provide the complete path of this invoice folder. So let me copy this one from here and let's provide the path here. Now for each file in this directory, I'm going to read the text file, and inside this we do not require the complete file name now. We can write it simply the file which we provided here, the file which we provided here, and we'll have to convert into string. So let's convert into string. So for each file in this directory, read the file and do the matching using the matches activity. So I will drag all these activities inside for each. And this if condition also will have to provide inside the body of for each. If this condition satisfies, then it will write the data, inside the data table. So this complete will be present inside the for each body. So this is how it looks like, and at the end, once the for each is over, then the data will be written to the Excel file. So our project is modified. Now we'll quickly run this to see how it works. I will delete this already existing data. Let's close this file and let's quickly run this project to see how it works. And my project is running now and it is over. Let's quickly move to the Excel file which we have. So this is the invoice data Excel. So here you see the complete data got written inside the Excel file. Now here you see we have the 5 text files, but in the Excel there are only 4 rows because as I mentioned earlier, this 5th text file doesn't contain the complete information. That's why inside the if condition it got skipped. The data is not written to the data table and hence it is not written in the Excel as well. So in this way we can use regular expressions and matches activity to extract data from files. Here in this session I have used the text files, but the similar process will be followed for any other files such as PDF, Word documents or even the emails. And that's all for this session guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like and share with your friends. Hit the bell button to get the updates on the latest videos. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel as well, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye bye.